Welcome back, YouTube. So in today's video, I'm going to give you my thoughts on AMC. We're going to take a brief look here at the charts because I know that it's almost impossible to chart, at least accurately, AMC. So we're going to take a brief look at that, and I'm going to give you my thoughts as far as to what's going on and where we are right now. Now, my last video, I said that at these levels, this is typically where we see a very strong uptick in price action. And I have some of the previous chart cycles and stuff here. This is roughly where we are now at 649. And you'll see that typically at these levels and below, this is where we have these very strong upticks, normally at least 40% before there's like a rejection of some kind. And even going back until last year, this is roughly the range that we dipped down to before we went up to around like the $8 range, had a small correction down to like the $7. And then we had that big uptick to like the $7 range roughly. So very, very strong likelihood that we're going to have this uptick from the current prices that we are now. Typically, this is where you get a lot of options come in and a lot of buying pressure, especially for people who had higher DCAs, and they're able to bring that down to less than $10. And I think that a lot of people are going to take advantage of that. And this is just kind of like, and I won't say just like getting in early, but it's kind of like the people who reap the benefits of having DCAs lower than $10 on the last ride. And this leads me into, and I'm going to change this to just me on the screen because I feel I don't even want the chart here to cause like a distraction or anything. Let's see, stop share. Okay, so, and I want to say this because what we've seen here with AMC is a really just unprecedented amount of like corruption and BS, even when it comes down to just evaluating a company. Like shorts aside, lies aside, manipulation aside, I don't know of an example in the market of a company making more money and somehow being worth less. I've never seen a company make money and lose value. So, it's a black and white approach, but you can say, sales cure all and stuff like that. And AMC's had some really, really great sales, especially a turnaround, even from, the pandemic era, and even just getting back to some of its old numbers where it was worth more than what it is right now, despite even the unprecedented amount of people who are buying and holding AMC. So we're not even talking about just a normal price evaluation to pre-pandemic numbers. We're talking about the amount of people who are holding AMC and the amount of shares of the people who are holding AMC are holding. It's very unlikely that we're seeing an organic price here. And I know that when we are up against this corruption, the BS that we are in the markets, they'll drag it out, hoping that you kind of forget and you move on. Oh, it's not going to happen. The market's not rigged. This is the true evaluation of AMC. And I really just want to, just for you guys to think about, the point at first being, then we're going to make another one, is if you know of a company who's made more money and lost value, then if that's truly the case, if the market is, and we know this is manipulation and stuff like that, but we know that it's not like a true form of supply and demand, because that's what a short is. It's a guaranteed buyer at some point in the future, even though it generates a sell order right this second. I'll save that for another video. But if a company can make more money and have a higher demand for its shares than at any point in its history and still lose money, then what is the evaluation of the company based on? Is supply and demand, does supply and demand play any role in the company? Or simply, as what we're seeing here, if you have enough money, can you just short it to zero and just override supply and demand? Because that's pretty much what the market is saying. That's pretty much what the point that it's making. That's what Gary Gensler seems that he can't see, or anybody at the SEC. That just seems like it's just, okay. Like you can, if you got enough money, screw some supply and demand. Just override it. And if that's the case, how many other companies has this been happening to? And, it opens up. And I think this is one of the reasons why they're not getting involved to the level that a lot of people had hoped, even like last year and stuff like that, is because when you expose something like this, you pull the curtain back on something like this. It's kind of like the expression like opening Pandora's box and stuff like it. It's much bigger than what we imagine, and I know it's much bigger than AMC, but the price point that we're seeing here for even for this company, or even just the fact that they're pretending like nothing's wrong, this is letting us know that the you're not crazy. And I know a lot of times we see people like, oh, it's not going to happen, or it's BS and stuff like that. I can just look at the numbers, even the points that I made earlier in this video. You're not crazy. This is manipulation and BS at very, very high levels. And that's why I say, correct me if I'm wrong. If you know of an example of a company making more money and having higher demand on its stock, and organically losing money and losing value, quote unquote, per the stock market, please share that in the comment section. I love to evaluate that company and do a cross reference here, because this is baffling to me. And if me, I'm not a Wall Street, economist, or Harvard graduate or something like that. These people who are experts, supposedly smarter than all of us, there's no way that the amateurs are getting this and the elite are, it's just escaping them how this is possible. Unless this is the name of the game and this is how most of the revenue is generated, and nobody wants to touch this because it'll create a domino effect and unravel the system that we are currently in. That's just my opinion. But what we're seeing here as far as the price action, this is total BS. And I do believe that if the community continues to have the pressure that they're putting on not only the individual stock, but also on the organizations, there will be a crack. We've had large movements both in the political arena, the rights arenas and stuff like that. And normally, when you are up against mass corruption or mass BS and stuff like that, it takes some time. And I think this is just what we've stumbled upon in AMC is much bigger than just AMC. And I think that this is kind of what we're up against. It's really just a behemoth of BS all across the markets. So I do think that this can potentially um, cause massive like disruption across the markets. And I think that the pressure and stuff like that has to be continuously applied. It can't be like hot and cold based off of price action. But I think that what we're on here, even if it's just getting answers, clear answers to how the market works, because again, I have read hundreds, probably thousands of reports at this time. There's a lot of great analysts, so there's a lot of great intelligent people reporting and working on AMC and stuff like that. And I have yet to have anyone make sense of a company increasing revenue and increasing demand on the stock and the stock going the opposite direction. I have yet to have anyone make sense of that. If you know of any reasonable response to this, again, please put this in the comment section. It will I will gladly correct myself if someone knows of some information that can make sense of this. I have been searching for over a year now, and I can't seem to I can't seem to come up with a solution for it. And I know the charts and all that kind of stuff like that. And again, I've done a number of videos on shorts. I understand them very well, but ultimately, how there's no intervention and stuff like that. This says a lot, even at some of the bigger levels. So I think that aside from the price action and stuff like that, I do believe the people, including myself, who are holding, I do believe the ones that see it through ultimately will be rewarded. But as far as for time frames and stuff like that, that's something we've been saying in the community. There is no time frame. We've tried to time it a number of times, and it has not worked out. But ultimately, I do believe that we're onto something. It's just much bigger than we could have ever imagined. So let me know, what are your thoughts on AMC, where you are now, if you decided to hold, if you decided to sell. What are your thoughts on the company increasing its revenue and demand on the shares and still losing money? Please, still losing value, quote unquote. Please let me know your thoughts in the comment section as well. I'd love to have that discussion, and maybe I'll do a live this week, and we can kind of discuss it live. I know I haven't went live in a while, so I think that'll be a great discussion for us. But please let me know your thoughts. I love to converse with you guys, and make sense of it all if we can. As always, if you like payment for order flow free trading, check out Moomoo. I have a link for them in the description section. You can get up to $12,000. You can deposit any amount and get those free stocks. And if you want my trades inside of the market, you can do so by signing up for my Patreon. We have a private Discord. We have meetings every week and stuff like that. And we've been bringing in guests now to give us some insight into the markets. And I have a link for that in the description section as well. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. Thank you. And I will see you guys in the next video.